Time now for another edition of Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Bradley Meyer at the Okoboji Wellness Clinic. Good morning, Dr. Meyer.
Well, good morning, Dave.
Well,
Happy to be with everybody.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you again. And one of the things that we love is success stories. And you're going to tell us about Arlan today.
Absolutely. What an incredible story. I hope to have him on here. He is a gentleman that comes from a distance, and he actually might listen to this program, so he may be listening this morning, but he's a great guy, and I just can't wait to continue to see the progress that he makes, because he's already done some incredible things with us. So these are the things, Dave, that just make it so worth it to do what we're doing here. It's fuel for the soul and energy for the day, every day. So, yeah, he had come into us this spring and shared with us that he was dealing with quite a bit of pain, and he was dealing with some fatigue and decades of not being able to sleep at night. Some of that was due to the knee pain in his legs there, and he was not a real good surgery candidate because of some history of some infections. And so he'd been doing his own research, which is really cool when we have folks that do their due diligence and look out there and say, what is there that can help me heal? And one of the things that he found that helped him dramatically before he even came in was iodine. You know, iodine, we're pretty much all deficient in it. They started to replace iodine in a lot of our food products, and then a lot of bread has bromine and a bromide in it, and it is pushing aside the iodine, and then we end up with this deficiency, which is really important for our thyroid gland and our metabolism. So, long story short, he figured this out. You know, he like, okay, what can I do to help get less frequent infections? And the iodine is a huge piece in the metabolic process for oxygenation, ATP production. So he'd already started to figure this out. Then he also heard about some ozone therapy, and he's like, ooh, okay, you know, maybe there's something there that's going to be helpful to me. So when he came in, again, just looked of pain, and in retirement was wanting to be able to, again, add life to his years and not just survive the day, and that's pretty much where he was at. And so we got going with identifying what was, as we typically do when folks come in, we typically try to find out what is intoxing the body, what is getting the body sideways, what's inflaming the body. So we tune some things up, some of the things that we talk about through nutrition, and then we look into other areas that may be intoxing the body, and we're still in the process of going down that road with him. But even the adrenal glands we addressed with him. With chronic fatigue, worked a little bit on those adrenal glands. We touched on that last week. And the combination of those intoxin changes, how do we clean up our lifestyle, along with a few additional supplements that I identified based on his lab work. And then we called the fire departments, and we got going with, again, the hyperbaric therapy, which is an oxygen chamber with increased atmospheric pressure, where you sit in a chamber, and for about 80 minutes, it's like flying first class at our clinic here, where we give you pillow service and a blanket service, and the team takes great care of you. But 80 minutes in that hyperbaric chamber, you get back to sit back, relax in there, read a book, and then some IV ozone we've done, and then we've done some Prolozone, ozone injections with him. And after his first series of injections, he had such a dramatic response. He came in and grinning ear to ear, and he shared with me it's the first time he'd had sleep in decades.
Wow.
And we've talked, Dave, how important sleep is. Sleep is critical. That's the time when our body recharges, rebuilds. And if you're in pain all night long and you're waking, that repair stage is blocked, and it's a kind of a downward potential spiral. So he has, each time he comes in, he says, I feel like I get a boost. I feel like I've got more energy after I work with this IV Ozone. And so we're in the building stage right now. And I always talk about the first hill at Arnold's Park Amusement Park. You got to get to that top, the point of no return, it's called. Well, whatever therapy we're working with, that's what we're aiming for. We got to get a little bit of a bolus to start with, and that's what we're working with him is a bolus of Prolozone injections, which is, again, ozone is 3 oxygen molecules. It's exercise in a bottle. It's oxygen in a syringe, and we put that into his bloodstream, apply that for a 45-minute treatment, and then inject it into painful backs and joints and knees. And we're working our way up that first hill at Arnold's Park Amusement Park there to that point of no return, working on that bolus. And once we get to the top of that thing, we kind of compress some of these treatments a little bit more frequently, like a hyperbaric, like a ozone therapy, and so on and so forth. Then we are amping up that metabolism. You think of it as that coal car running down the track with the steam engine there, and oh my goodness, we're stoking the fire. That's what we want to do at the start. We're stoking the fire of the ATP, the mitochondria, building that up to peak level, and then we hit the top, and then we go. And we can go and coast for a long time once we hit that bolus, where many of these folks, once we hit that bolus, we clean up things in the surroundings, and they're able to go for, days on end with this newfound energy and less pain, so on and so forth, where if they continue to do some of these things with their lifestyle, then they may need occasional recharge. They're able to keep that momentum going. But that first 2 to 3 months is pretty critical when folks come in and work with us. So it's what we're working on, is working on getting up that first hill, the little engine that could, and then which is so beautiful to see, because a lot of times, even within the first 2 to 3 weeks, folks start to notice changes and they start to feel better. And what is that? That's super motivating to continue to take that climb up that first hill, because they're already having wins as they climb up that first hill. They're feeling better. It's motivating. All right, I want more of this. I love this. So, he's an incredible inspiration, and I know that there's a lot more folks out there like him that unfortunately are not aware of that potential to have that journey to get the body back into balance and on the less inflammation and healing path. And so, of course, always inviting other folks to come along on that journey.
So I don't know how to give the best example of this, but we've talked about this with hyperbarics, that the more treatments you have, the tank becomes a little bit more full. Now, like, some people can get the results that they need. For example, maybe for like a concussion, maybe a treatment or two does it for the hyperbaric chamber. But just in general, hyperbaric chamber, the more treatments that you have, the more full your tank becomes. It has an accumulative effect. Am I right there?
Correct.
So in the same way, ozone, when you talk about working our way up to the top of the roller coaster, ozone has that same cumulative type effect.
Correct. Now, so when we're talking chronic disease, when the body's metabolism gets really, really low, that means we're not making energy as well. That's when disease kind of happens upon us. We start to accumulate problems, health problems. And so those cases when the disease is accumulating, that means our metabolism is not what it used to be. We're not making energy efficiently. We're not oxygenating very well. So in order to do that, there's a lot more on the input side needed. to kind of, we're talking these problems, these things that develop didn't happen overnight. So we need to feed the body what it's missing, the right nutrients, and we need to get what's inflaming the body away from it. The body has a great memory, wants to return to balance, wants to return to wellness, but it takes a little bit of time to get back to where that body is out of that quote-unquote fight or flight state, where it's in that pain state. And so that takes more of the building. Now, if you have some cases where, like you said, with a concussion with hyperbaric therapy, many times an acute concussion, 5 to 10 hyperbaric treatments are all that's needed. Same with ozone, whether IV ozone. We had quite a few folks come in the wintertime that just could not move the needle, could not get over the hump on this. They got sick, they had the flu, what have you, and it was holding on for months. They'd been into the doctors and been on multiple rounds of antibiotics, just not getting better. And we had folks come in that would do 3 to 5 IV ozone treatments, because a lot of times I like to do 10 to 15 for the bolus. But for an acute situation like an acute illness, many times that you may only need 1 to 5 IV ozone treatments. And now the same thing goes with sports recovery. If you've got an injury to a knee, this is a cool story. One of our summer interns here, she's dealt with, and she's a nursing student, but that goes to Kentucky, but she's dealt with this knee pain for well over a year, had an MRI, nothing torn. We did 1 Prolozone injection, 1 injection of ozone in her knee, and the pain's been gone ever since. And so sometimes when you don't have the years upon years upon years of buildup, or, I saw, a softball player recently and worked on some ozone injection to help relieve inflammation in that throwing arm, and did 1 hyperbaric treatment. We did some ozonated glycerin, which is phenomenal. It was topical, and then we added on a little bit of subcutaneous ozone right in that extremity, and voila, she this is more of an acute situation, and she is off to the races, and made major progress just after those initial treatments.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Love to hear the success stories. We have learned so much as we've continued this journey with you. Of course, diet is huge, sleep is huge, but really inflammation, if you peel back the layers like you like to do, inflammation seems to be one of the major causes for us not feeling well and disease in itself. If we can get that inflammation calmed down some way, somehow, then the body gets into recovery mode pretty quickly.
Yeah, we amp up that metabolism, and we get that going again, where we're utilizing oxygen well, and that turns down that inflammation, and then we're really on the right path.
All right, we're over time here already. We've got things to talk about coming up. We're going to talk about kettlebells. You've got somebody from the Brookings area. We're going to talk about gut health. We got lots of... I told Lene yesterday, I said, we could probably do a 1-hour show once a week and have plenty to talk about. But listen,
fun.
How do folks find you?
Yeah, 712-339-6024. And we are at 3305 Berquist Avenue in Spirit Lake, Iowa, just off Highway 71. Give us a call to schedule a complimentary discovery visit with me. That's 15 minutes where we kind of discuss your story and see if we're a good fit for the journey together to work on that healing pathway. Yeah, excited to share that story of Janai. Comes from Brookings, and our team has just had some tremendous success with the progress with her gut, where nothing's been able to move the problems with digestion with her for years, and it's going to be a great story. It's another hope healing story that she is excited. She actually asked. She listens to the show, and she's like, "Can I come on and share my story?" Because she's like, I want to share my story. I'm like, absolutely.
That's
so
awesome.
she's going to share her story. So.
You know, before I let you go, one thing that's a common thread with some of these stories is the amount of time these people have suffered. Years. That's a long That's a long time.
But there's hope.
But there is hope. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Well, listen,
right.
Happy Independence Day to you and everyone at Okoboji Wellness Clinic, you and your family and your entire team. And we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah. Get out there and ground, get some sunshine, enjoy your loved ones. Take care, everybody.
Very good. Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Bradley Meyer with us today on another edition of Wellness Wednesday. And you can find out more at OkobojiWellnessClinic.com.